Welcome to Brazos Matters. I'm Jay Sokol. More than 20 years ago, when I was still a fairly new communications director for the city of Bryan, just a baby communications director, I remember one of our community's true characters, attorney and banker Sam Sharp, coming to my office at City Hall and telling me that he and his wife, Louise, were starting a community foundation. So I have to admit, at the time, I didn't really understand what that meant. But if Uncle Sam was excited about it, then I knew I should be excited about it too. Well, what it's meant is a lot of money from this community being used in this community to do really good work that helps out our neighbors. Today, the Community Foundation is a driving force behind what's become an annual fundraising event in Bryan College Station and throughout the area. It's called Brazos Valley Gives, and that officially takes place October 15th. So here to explain how that endeavor works is Brazos Valley Gives co-chair Molly Watson. Molly, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, Jay.
Of course. So I did not do a great job of explaining the Community Foundation, so could you do a better job for me?
Well, I can, but you did a great job. And Sam was such an amazing person, he and Louise, truly.
He was a character.
Yes, he was. And just the dynamism that we needed to start a community foundation here.
Yeah.
And I had only been here for 1 year at that time, but I remember those days because I love nonprofits here, and that's what community foundations are about. And in the United States, community foundations started in 1914 by a man named Frederick Goff in Cleveland, Ohio. He started the first community foundation, and now we have over 900 in the United States. And he thought that we should have a collective. It's a little bit like NIL money, if you really want to get where you have people that care and they want to provide resources for those in need, and you get a collective together. That's what a community foundation is.
Okay.
But you know, I believe that communities are really only as good as those nonprofits that are meeting the needs to provide the quality of life that we have, say, in the Brazos Valley. Mm-hmm. And our quality of life, as everyone knows that lives here and enjoys it, is high. And that's because of community foundations. That's because of strong nonprofits. And the Community Foundation is here for philanthropists to make it easy because we're in touch with the needs of our communities. Our 7 counties of the Brazos Valley, not just here in Bryan College Station, we're in touch with those needs and we're in touch with those nonprofits. And if you are a person that wants to give, we're here to help identify your passion and combine it to meet the need of a nonprofit.
Yeah. That's a good explanation of a community foundation. So explain how Brazos Valley Gives works for those of us who want to support great local causes and for those great local causes.
Well, it's a concept that we didn't actually start. It's been going on. Giving days have been going on across the United States for many years. North Texas Giving Day, one of the largest giving days in the nation, gives away over $60 million every year to their North Texas counties. So in 2019, Julie Porter and Patricia Gerling visited East Texas, thinking, you know, East Texas has some rural communities, kind of like the Brazos Valley. Let's go to Tyler and see what they're doing. And saw their model of a giving day. Came back and said, Molly, what do you think about this? And I said, I love it. And they said, let's do it. So they really were the first to say, this is a great idea. And I just jumped on board.
So you got in on the ground floor of this.
I did. And Julie and I have been co-chairs. Patricia is the president of the Community Foundation, the employee that really is a champion. So the 3 of us got together. We got 2 or 3 other people, and we thought, let's start a giving day. Well, it's difficult to explain sometimes to people, and it took a lot that first year to explain it. But all it is an 18-hour online giving platform with high security for data to protect people.
Right.
And you just log on, and those nonprofits that have signed up, you give straight to them. If your passion's dogs, you put in dogs. Every nonprofit that services dogs is going to pop up. Elderly, the homeless, food shortages. It's very easy on BrazosValleyGives.org to get on there and search the nonprofits that are a part of our day. And then $10 minimum donation. You can use a credit card. There's a fee there. But if you want to drop a check off, we have drop-off sites all around. And that day, you drop off those checks. It's an easy way to give. And we like to say there's a $10 minimum, but never a maximum donation. I like to say that.
Right.
It's just a way that kind of brings everybody together. Even kids can give in Brazos Valley Gives. Anybody can give away $10 to a nonprofit that they love.
So anecdotally, what are some giving stories that stand out to you that you kind of keep close to you that have happened these past 5, now entering the 6th year?
Well, there's been a lot of collaboration, and that is one thing that the Community Foundation really desires, is that nonprofits won't be siloed, that they'll come together. So, even last year we had a woman that came in with her checks that had 2 foster children there. Well, Dwayne Parsons happened to be there because he was representing another nonprofit that he loves. And Dwayne actually had been a part of the foster process for this group. And then at that point, they got together with another nonprofit, and he introduced him to them. And that nonprofit said, we have resources available for your foster children that we can provide. So there's that kind of collaboration. And then also, when we had the big goal of $1 million, we had a wonderful philanthropist call me at 8:08 p.m. and said, Molly, how close are you to that $1 million? And I said, I think we're going to get there, but I don't know. It ends at 11 p.m. So we had, a couple of more hours. And he said, well, my wife and I would like to donate this much, which without that, we wouldn't have got to that $1 million.
Wow.
And I said, well, have you looked at the website and have you decided which nonprofit? He said, I'm thinking about that. I'll let you know in the morning and I'll have my check ready. And it ended up being Aggieland Humane Society from this donor.
Oh, wow.
And so that was a surprise to them. They got an extra 25 that we ended up calculating that day and went straight to them.
Oh, and I know they appreciated that.
Oh, they did. They did. And, I do want to say that the Community Foundation, we are the champions for this. We lift up this day, but that we lift up all nonprofits. Nonprofits are responsible for rallying their own donor constituency. They have to reach out to their board members. They have to, but we're going to promote the day as much as we can, like I'm doing with you today.
Sure.
But the Community Foundation does not take one dime from that day. We are a pass-through in this instance.
By the time this airs, the deadline for nonprofits to register to be part of Brazos Valley Gives will have passed. But how do the nonprofits who participate, how do they become eligible to do so?
It's very easy. You have to have a physical location within the Brazos Valley in one of those counties. You have to have your IRS letter of determination that you can load up to us that says you're a 501c3. And you have to provide services to our communities and our counties. We don't want, not that we don't want to be a part of other nonprofits that send their money to Ukraine. That's wonderful. But Brazos Valley Gives is about giving where you live.
Yeah.
And we want the money to stay here. That's what our Community Foundation's about. And that's what Brazos Valley Gives is about.
This may be a ridiculous question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Are all communities the same in terms of the generosity and the giving nature of the citizens? Or are we special in some way? Are we unique in some way in the way this community or the Brazos Valley tends to give?
Well, I can only speak to where I've lived.
Yeah.
And I won't say all of those communities.
Okay.
But we are a unique community. It may be about also the family-oriented kind of the Texas A&M force, the family, the Aggie family. There may be something to that. I feel like we are beginning to really reach out to our surrounding counties where we are all beginning to come together more. We're starting to reach out to those counties and get committee members to be on Brazos Valley Gives so that those counties can be represented. We're reaching out to school districts that have foundations, and that's bringing us together. But as far as the giving nature, I would have to say that we are unique. I have been in fundraising since I feel like the moment I was born, and a brownie, not a Girl Scout, but a brownie.
Okay.
Selling things, raising money for something. And there are many, many giving communities, but I do feel like the Brazos Valley has stepped up, and we can talk about the impact that Brazos Valley Gives has made over the last 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's no question that our community, when asked, rises to the occasion, unlike any other.
Well, tell me more about the impacts.
So in 2019, when we started and we were going one by one, explaining to the nonprofits, having forums, explaining to them what Brazos Valley Gives Day, because it was a two-part education. It was an education of the nonprofits, and it was an education to the donor.
Sure.
And we raised $336,000. And my goodness, we thought we were, wow, this is incredible.
I mean, that's significant money.
It was. And, it really was. And then COVID hit, and we thought, what is going to happen? And the nonprofits were coming to us and saying, we can't have our events. Our big fundraiser, nothing. So we set a goal of $750,000, and we hit 801. That's our community. That's our community. And then it has gone up. The next year, 926. The next year, 1.1. Last year, 1.4. And this year, our goal is 1.5. So from 336 or 363 to hopefully 1.5 this year.
Yeah, that's pretty good growth.
It is.
But we're always asked to give. We're asked by more and more entities to give. We're always asked to give. Always something in the mail. Always something in your email inbox. How do you guys sort of ensure that your brand and your credibility and your story shines through and still gets people's attention?
Well, I think there is an accountability with the Community Foundation. Our board members are leaders in the community. They're represented by we have an attorney, we have financial, we have community volunteers, we have people that have lived here for a long time, we have people that are from different counties. They are leaders in the community. You have a trusting feeling when you look at our board members, and I would invite anyone to do that online. But it's really about us communicating to those nonprofits and them having the faith, in this day and in what we're doing. And we continue to have more and more nonprofits, which, the donors are hooked to the nonprofit. That's their passion. So I think if we can get the trust of the nonprofit to know that we're about raising money for them, not for the Community Foundation, this is for them. I feel like there's an innate trust there.
Right. If you just tuned in, I'm Jay Sokol, and you're listening to Brazos Matters. My guest today is Molly Watson, Brazos Valley Gives co-chair. Okay, so you talked about Brazos Valley Gives has most recently raised more than $1.4 million that benefited, I think, almost 170 nonprofits. And your goal is a little bit higher than that. You said $1.5 million, right?
Yes, 1.5.
Does there get a point to where too many nonprofits are a part of this, or is it truly the more the merrier, the more the better?
The more the merrier.
Yeah.
Because I think it's a numbers game. The more nonprofits, the more money we raise, because that brings in more constituencies. So we've reached out personally to nonprofits that we're all involved in. I've reached out to board members. Make sure your nonprofit signed up for Brazos Valley Gives. I mean, we're not exclusive here.
Okay.
I gave you those 3 criteria. That's all we care about. We want you to serve our community members. We want you to have a physical location, and we want you to be a 501c3.
Sounds fair enough. So now that you've had this track record and proven success, have you had other communities look at you guys to see how it's done?
I don't know that. I'll have to ask Patricia that. I would not be surprised.
Yeah.
And any member of a community, over 100,000, I would think, would be able to establish a giving day in their communities.
What's special about 100,000?
Well, I think, you have to have the numbers in your community, I would think, to have nonprofits. Some communities don't have very many nonprofits, and some of our rural communities are like that. So that's why we've reached out to the school districts, in Centerville. Centerville, we need you to be a part. Your education foundation, are you having a lot of, support? We'll help you have a fundraiser easily. So we're trying to find unique ways. We went to the Greater Texas Foundation and we talked to them. What if we get our foundations to come together? Would you offer a matching gift? They said, absolutely. So our independent school districts around the Brazos Valley have joined in on Brazos Valley Gives. If they raise $2,500, the Greater Foundation will match that 3-1.
Wow.
That's a big impact.
Sure it is.
Yeah.
And how responsive have these surrounding counties in the Brazos Valley been? Has their participation increased year over year?
It has, and like I said, some of the rural communities don't have as many nonprofits, but we were represented by all 7 counties last year. Leon was kind of our first to jump on board.
Good.
And I haven't seen the report yet, but we will once our deadline hits soon and know if all counties are going to be a part.
So I know you have built an entire career raising money for specific projects and foundations and causes, and that requires a very specific kind of talent, personality, skill sets. So you're an expert in this field. You're not just a spokesperson coming to talk about.
Well, that's true. I have a new career now, and I do this volunteer. But for 25 years, I raised money either in higher ed or for a nonprofit.
Yeah.
So it does take a special skill set, I guess, Jay.
Well, as a professional development person, what do you like about the way the Brazos Valley Gives is designed?
Well, my role as co-chair and Julie Porter's role as co-chair is that we go to businesses and individuals, and this is another special part about Brazos Valley Gives, to raise sponsorships. So last year we raised $75,000 extra dollars so that the nonprofits can rally each hour. Whichever nonprofit raises the most money between 5 and 6 a.m., they're going to get $1,000 from Candy and Ron Rust. The ones that, raise the most between 6 and 7 a.m., they're going to get $1,000 from Watson Law Firm. So we go and provide special gifts and prizes to create kind of some competition. And those nonprofits target hours and tell their donors, we're giving at noon, you get there, and they get excited about that. We also really uniquely encouraged them to have matching gifts. Matching gifts are a wonderful way to make an impact. So if you and your wife decided that you wanted to give a matching gift to the food bank, well, you tell them, I want you to raise $1,000. When you hit that $1,000, I'm going to give you another $1,000. Well, that has made a huge impact. And that's where development strategy can kind of work in Brazos Valley Gives. Also, we've reached out to other companies and even funds that are held at the Community Foundation. There's a donor that anonymously looks at every nonprofit. And at our celebration party 2 weeks later, they have decided how much they're going to give. And in the last 3 years, they've given $65,000.
Wow.
So we arrive, they've read every bio of every nonprofit, and 10,000 goes here and 5,000 goes here and 2,500 to make up that, because they're dispersing those funds out of their donor advised fund. So there's a lot of special things happening in Brazos Valley Gives that isn't just the $10 gift that sometimes surprises nonprofits. But I love asking people for money. It doesn't bother me.
I cannot relate.
Yeah. And sometimes I think people are going to either stop answering their phone or turn the other way in the sidewalk when they see me. But I have a special project I'm working on unrelated to this, and I'm coming for those donors. So it excites me. And I feel like you can say no if it's not your passion. I don't want you to miss the opportunity to give and bless a nonprofit in our community.
You have to be fearless to do what you do. Seriously, because you walk into a room and you can ask somebody for a certain sum of money that may have several zeros behind it.
Yeah.
And you're fearless doing that. I just cannot imagine.
Well, you do have to know your audience.
Yeah.
And there's just a lot of giving people in this community that make it pretty easy.
So what does October 15th look like for you guys who have put all this together, and there's the frenzy of nonprofits encouraging their fans and donors, to go online and give. And so what are you guys doing? What does all that look like?
So fun. So we actually we get up about 4 a.m. We get to the Eagle about 4:30. And at 5 o'clock, we start on KBTX or other media outlets. And we start promoting. And we go live each hour as much as we can. Brian Broadcasting has us going on Candy 95 every hour. They play nonprofit little blips that they've recorded to try to. So we're all about a big promotion day too. We would love for you to pop in.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we wait for people to come through and we cheer them on when they bring their checks. We had little girls with their piggy banks come. We've got people bringing stacks of cash.
Bringing to the
Eagle
okay.
as a drop-off. We also have 3 other sites in other counties, and that's on our website. And we will be open for the drop-offs from 7 to 7. And then we stay there. We have security also, just because there is cash coming in and out.
Right.
And some, older people that don't feel comfortable giving online will come, and we'll walk them through giving online right there.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Because it is a little bit cumbersome sometimes to someone that's not used to using a computer a lot.
Sure. Well, who is watching what in terms of numbers coming in? And I mean, it just feels like there are going to be an army of people sitting at computers watching cash totals increase.
That's right. So, we have a ticker live at brazosvalleygives.org, and we are always watching. And every hour at the end of the hour, we write our total and we compare it to last year and we compare it to the year before and we see how we're trending. So we've got those old lists that we have done, but that ticker's live, always going up, we hope.
And it goes until when on the 15th?
11 p.m. So
that's the cutoff.
5 a.m. to 11 p.m.
So if I want to do my giving, if I want to participate in Brazos Valley Gives and it's 11:15 p.m.,
it's over.
Game over.
No.
I mean, I could go I could go directly to my nonprofit of choice.
Of course, but we want you to give through Brazos Valley Gives. We want you to. So, you know what? If you're going to be out of town on October 15th, September 16th, we're going to open that website up for early giving.
Okay.
So that you can give any time between September 16th and October 14th. We'll show the early giving total, and then that ticker will start at 5 a.m.
It's like early voting and election day.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It's exciting.
It is exciting, and it's impressive what you guys have built. So tell me, I know I've forgotten some things that were probably top of mind to you for Brazos Valley Gives. So tell me what I don't know.
Well, next year, say, if you're a nonprofit or you're a board member listening to this, it does cost $150 to be a part if you're a nonprofit, which I did leave out. If you have a fund at the Community Foundation, it's $50. We have never had a nonprofit that did not receive that $150 back as a donation. So your fee will be covered because there will be a donor that finds you. And, so I don't think anybody needs to be stressed about that. Okay. But there is that. But we feel like the Community Foundation is all about collaboration. We are all about being a community partner. And that is with philanthropists, with donors, that is with individuals and businesses that want to give, that want to learn about our nonprofits. And we want to be a community partner to nonprofits.
Yeah.
We want to know about their needs. Because we have people come that are wanting to give, and we want to be able to identify and match those passions.
Am I going to know who made the donations to me if I'm a nonprofit?
They will immediately get a receipt, and you'll get a notification to your email, whichever you've set up, that says exactly who that donor is. That's your donor as a nonprofit, not ours.
Right. We
don't own that. You do.
Okay.
So you'll see that, and you don't have to worry about the receipting because it's automatic, which is nice. You'll probably receipt. A nonprofit typically receipts itself at their donors at the end of the year, but for Brazos Valley Gives, the donor gets an immediate receipt. Yeah, which is nice.
Is there an off season for you guys working on this endeavor, or is this has it become a year-round project for you?
We're starting to kind of be a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
But we always are bringing new people onto our committee because we want new ideas. You know, we don't want to get stuck. We may not be thinking of things because we have done it now for 5 years.
Yeah.
You know, we have new individuals on our committee that are offering us some amazing ideas, and we want to use those ideas. So, you know, anybody that would love to be a part, you know, just call the number on BrazosValleyGives.org because the Community Foundation will answer, and there's 2 employees there, and we would just love to. We're very open.
Okay, so with the final couple minutes we have, for those who may have just tuned in, give me a final elevator pitch for Brazos Valley Gives coming up on October 15th.
Well, we like to say that we live here, we pray here, we play here, we cheer here. We do all of these things in the Brazos Valley, but we really love to give here. And that's what Brazos Valley Gives is about. It is about bringing donors together with nonprofits to meet needs. And this year, Tuesday, October 15th, starting at 5 a.m. and ending at 11 p.m., we are going to have an incredible giving day. And early giving starts September 16th. Right now, we have 165 nonprofits signed up. Mm-hmm. We're hoping to hit 170, 175, and we're hoping to hit that $1.5 million goal.
And you can find out more and even give a contribution where?
At BrazosValleyGives.org.
Because there's information about this whole thing. If you're a little bit confused, not quite certain how all this works and what the Community Foundation is, that's where you can find the information.
Yes, and the website is very intuitive. And if you want to just learn about nonprofits, you can search them alphabetically and go through 170 of them and see their stories. They've created their pages. It's very special.
This is a pretty interesting endeavor, and I know it's benefiting a ton of people in the Brazos Valley. So thank you for doing what you're doing to make this happen. And I know this is like something that gives you joy, right? This is your love language, is raising money.
It is. It's my passion. It is.
Well, you're terrific to come in here and talk to us about it. I appreciate it very much. One more time on the website.
BrazosValleyGives.org.
Okay. Molly Watson, thank you, America's sweetheart, for coming to our studios and talking to us about it. Thanks very much.
Thanks so much, Jay.
Brazos Matters is a production of Aggieland's Public Radio, 90.9 KAMU-FM, a member of Texas A&M University's Division of Marketing and Communications. Our show was engineered and edited by Matt Dipman. All Brazos Matters episodes are available on YouTube and on podcast platforms like Spotify, Apple, iHeart, and Amazon. We're also on the NPR app and on the KAMU website. We would love for you to rate and review and subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you have suggestions for interviews, email me at jsokol@tamu.edu. Thanks so much for listening. Hope you have a great day.